All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of This Freakin' Show. It's a weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. I am your host, Travis D, and alongside me this wonderful evening,
Awkward Colin.
And Geek Cast Joe.
And it is literally freezing in fucking Illinois.
It is definitely cold outside.
There's so much fucking snow on the fucking ground. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's kind of like I don't know, like, I guess like an old, like, college buddy. Even though I didn't go to college, I'm assuming this was like an old roommate that, like, it's not that you hate him, but, like, he lets his socks everywhere.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Right. But it's wintertime. You know, it's bound to happen. Christmas is in 2 weeks, so I mean that's pretty cool. Actually, it's next week, isn't it? No, it's 2 weeks. I guess what? Christmas is on Sunday, right?
Yes, it is.
Technically 2 weeks, week and a half, give or take 2 weeks. I don't fucking know.
More than 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks. We're gonna go 2 weeks.
2.5.
Say 2 weeks. We'll say 2 weeks because this is technically being recorded on a Monday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not on a Tuesday?
Definitely not Tuesday because that means we recorded a week before we're supposed to. Wink, wink. Wink, wink. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we are back with another episode of This Freakin' Show. And, of course, this is part 2 of our interview with Infinite Monkeys Games. I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you did not catch part 1, if you did not listen to last week's episode yet, go back and listen to that one first and then come back and listen to this one. Because a lot of the questions that we ask on this half of the show and a lot of the answers we get are going to be related to what was already discussed in the first half of the episode. So I strongly encourage you to listen to the first one first. That's literally why it's called First. You know? So, but I gotta say, I mean, in my opinion, like I had a lot of fun talking to these guys. You know, a lot of fun. So, I'm sure you guys did.
Yeah, it was a...
Yeah, there we go. Let's join in.
Sorry.
You fucks.
I learned a lot about you guys.
I know, right?
From the
It's like,
discussion.
see, and that's the thing, and that's what's the beauty about a friendship or even brotherhood between you and me, Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like you always want to keep, things interesting. Always something new and exciting to learn about one another.
Yep. I concur.
Yeah. So, for those of you who want to learn more about Travesty, you're going to learn a lot about me in the next coming hour, or actually hour and a half, because the show went a little bit longer. I'm sorry, but not sorry, Derek. Shit happens, and I'm not turning this into a 3-part episode. So,
Word.
I know, right? But great episode coming up, part 2 of the interview with Infinite Monkeys Games, and of course, our new weekly segment with Colin and his Freakin' State of Minds. So, guys, just want to jump right into it?
Yeah, stay tuned.
Perfect. Let's real quick. We're gonna do this. We're really early in the show. Let's go ahead and promote a podcast, and then we'll just jump right into our interview.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jason.
And I'm Jeff. We're from the History of Bad Ideas podcast.
You know what you're listening to right now, Jeff?
What are we listening to right now?
This freaking show.
This freaking show?
This freaking show. And when you're not listening to this freaking show, take a listen to the History of Bad Ideas.
Where we talk about sports,
movies,
and other pop culture events happening
in the world. So take a listen. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, and any other place that you find great podcasts like This Freaking Show.
This Freaking Show.
But yeah, seriously though, I mean, if y'all have any more questions, we'll be more than happy. I know me and Jason will easily get off track.
Oh yeah,
and still continue else. But if you have any questions, fire them off. I mean, especially Travis and Colin, because y'all are relatively, from what Joe said, is unfamiliar with tabletop role-playing games. So I would love to answer questions from somebody who doesn't know.
Well, like, cause like the only time I ever played a game even close to it, I don't remember the game. I just remember like when I was in Boy Scouts, we went on this camping trip, and like there was a group. I want to say there was like 4 or 5, maybe 6 people that were playing like one game, and I had no idea what the hell they were doing. But the whole point of being in Boy Scouts is is to come together as a team. So I was like, "What are you guys doing?" They're talking about the game and everything. Con, I don't know if you remember this or not.
I think so.
I think, but like we're hanging out in the tent and we played the game, but we played like a very, very simplified version of it, just so I could like kind of understand it more. And they just had me like create a guy, and like it went into way too much detail, even as simplified as it was, because they say you gotta create a guy, you give him like some kind of characteristics, and then give him like levels or point system based on like strength and like evasion or something like that. It's just so it was like, I think that is what got me to the point where like maybe it just scared me to even try to do these games, because I'm the type of guy that doesn't want to look like an idiot doing shit. So like the last thing I want to do is like go up to somebody like who's playing this game and like, oh, what's that? And then they look at me like, it's an elf.
Yeah.
Like,
I think in this day and age, though, you might find that a vast majority of tabletop role players are very excited when somebody says, "Hey, tell me about this thing," rather than kind of scoffing or whatnot.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is like, and I never even told Joe this before, but when I first met GCR, because GCR is I guess he's my like step cousin or whatever you would call it. The first time I met like Ryan and like his dad and everything, and I don't know if you guys know that, but me and Joey are stepbrothers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. His dad married my mom and everything, and like we went to like this family Christmas party, and Joey's family is like really big into the tabletop games. I don't want to call them board games, but tabletop games. And I remember going to Kevin's house, and there's this huge ass table. It's like I don't know what it was, like a forest and like a village. And like I saw it, and like honestly, like it blew my fucking mind, because it looked like it was just like, to me it looked like somebody's hobby that they just like made this little village, but it was actually for like the game. Like they had these metal figurines and all that sort of stuff. And I was at the point like, I'm trying to meet all these new people and all these different people, and at that time I was like, I think like 14 years old. So I didn't want to sound stupid by saying anything. I didn't want to go up and like, oh, that's pretty cool. What's this horsey for? Or anything like that. So I saw the board. I thought how cool it was, but I never said anything about it because I didn't want to seem like that idiot in front of like this group of people I just met for the first time. So I'm like, and I guess I kind of regretted ever doing that, because it looked like a lot of fun, and it looked like something that would probably pique my interest. I mean, I like using your mind to create stories and everything. Like my biggest thing in high school was creative writing, because you get to use your mind to create these thoughts, these worlds, these stories and everything. That's why I thought like that's how I perceived these games to be, is you don't have to live in reality for that moment. You put what you want to do, in an alternate world or anything in these games. Is that right, or am I wrong there?
No, you're dead on.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're spot on.
straight on there.
Yeah, so it's like, and that's the shit that I want to do. Like, I mean, like, it's like with this podcast, like Travesty he's a fucking badass, but Travis has fucking bills to pay, So I mean, like, so when I'm on this show, I could, I don't have to worry about that shit. And that's how I always saw these tabletop games, and I always wanted to get into them. I just never wanted to look like an idiot trying to get into it, so I've always discouraged myself from learning that stuff, because I didn't want someone to look at me like, if you don't understand this, you're not going to understand anything.
No, this is a perfect conversation, especially for people who've not ever played role-playing games, because and most of my experience has been, if you ask a role player, somebody who's serious about role playing, tell me about this thing that you enjoy, they are all over giving you every little tiny detail about it without telling you you're stupid for not knowing about it. Because, I'm sure the paradigm has shifted a little bit in the last decade or so, but I started role playing when I was 12, and I'm not going to get into how many moons ago that was, but I was introduced to.
P.S. What he's saying is he's old as hell.
Not battle, not battle.
So do I need to start calling you sir?
No, please do
Yes.
not.
Yes. Do it.
But when I started out, I was fourth grade when I got introduced to Dungeons and Dragons, and my introduction was very similar to your story about the Scouts introduction you had, and but from that point forward, though, I was very curious, and I convinced my parents to buy me a set for Christmas, and I've been hooked on role-playing games ever since. But back then, you didn't want anybody to know you played role-playing games until you knew they played role-playing games, and then you could talk about things openly between the two of you. Because if you told anybody that's what you did, you were the nerd. You were the person to shun from society. And
well, yeah, it's kind of like if you go to somebody like you nonchalantly like, you smoke.
Yeah,
it's like you don't want to say it out loud, and that's the thing too. And that's the thing that's the one thing I hated is how people would sit there and judge you because you're doing shit like that.
Right.
It's like what is the difference between somebody playing a board game like D&D or somebody playing a video game like Call of Duty?
Not a thing.
There's not a difference. Like both have to do with war, both have to do with battle. You're just one is on a game where you're physically moving things. The other one you're sitting on your ass just playing with the controller.
Right.
There's nothing against games like this. I play the baseball games and stuff, so nothing against using the systems.
Right.
But there is no difference. But people would actually judge people on that, and that's a fucked up thing to do.
Well, and a lot of that comes from the social stigma of what's the stereotype of the role-playing gamer. It's a bunch of overweight kids in some parent's basement, eating pizza and drinking Mountain Dew,
and Doritos.
God, that sounds
and
like
Doritos. Yeah.
And getting high.
You're describing me. I'm drinking Monster right now.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. But to drive a slightly tangential nail home, it's like I saw this quote once, and it's never left me, and that is, fantasy football is D&D for those people who made fun of those people who played D&D.
Yeah.
It's
actually very true.
It's the exact same thing, but so. What's the difference between playing D&D or playing video game or doing fantasy football? There really isn't. No. There's not. So if you go up to somebody and say, "Hey, this game looks neat. What is it?" They'll be more than happy to share it with you because somebody has taken an interest in a hobby that generally will get you some sort of judgment or ridicule in mainstream society. But and again, to go back to your previous question, that's why we wrote the rules the way we did, is so that the universe of the game is big, it's intimidating, but how to play within that universe can be very, very, very simple for somebody who's new to these kinds of games. So
we don't want somebody who's never played like you before. I'm going to use you as an example. It would absolutely, in a way, like break my heart to know that you sat down, you were interested in, Stellar Chaos, and you got this book and you looked at it and you were like, I don't want to do this because there's 8 bajillion rules on how to walk up a flight of steps. And that's why we have that ability to dial in and out as much realism. We want you to have fun. That is the main thing. And, for somebody who's never played a role-playing game, like with tabletop and with their friends, the best way to describe it is improv acting with dice. Yeah. And it's fun.
Yeah, I tend to do an elevator pitch of essentially it's cooperative interactive storytelling. Your game master writes the base plot line, and your players are the characters within that plot line. And sometimes the characters don't follow the plot line. So the game master has to adapt. And then sometimes the characters are thrown, a monkey wrench that they weren't prepared for. So the players have to adapt. And together you tell this overall story. And that's one of the cool things that I have experienced universally, no matter what the game system is, no matter how big the place is, the player base is, or whatnot. You go to a gaming group of role players and start a conversation. The next thing you know, you're going to be in this huge, long drawn out storytelling of, war stories that these players went through with different sets of characters and situations and whatnot, laughing and telling all these crazy things that happened to their characters like it was their best friends. Mm-hmm. So it's, think of your favorite movie, and you're explaining, somebody's asked you to explain to them, tell me about, I don't know anything about the world that this movie takes place in. I don't know anything about the characters. Tell me about this thing and make me want to, go watch it. And if it's your most favorite movie in the world, you could talk at length about that movie and what happened in it. It's the same thing with role-playing games and role-playing adventures when they're done well. Now, there are game masters and players out there who are less than adequate in terms of understanding their systems or knowing how to interact with each other well, and that's going to be.
He's talking about me. He just doesn't want to say it out loud.
I am not talking about it. Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
No, but I mean, so my spouse likes to tell a story about a D&D group he was in, and that the GM that they had was not very good, and railroaded them everywhere. Oh, we want to go north. Oh, you guys are filled with racking pains. Okay, we try to go south. You're filled with racking pains. Okay, can we go west? You're filled with racking pains. Well, where can we go? You can go east. Right. Thanks. And that's an example of a GM who is inflexible, who cannot work improvisationally, and who is not willing to do a little fly by the seat of their pants for the sake of telling a story. And that makes for a very awkward and unenjoyable game. But then you have some that are just absolutely out of this world in their storytelling and their ability to, bend with the players and, the players want to go do this. I didn't plan for that. So let me come up with something off the top of my head and, we'll go explore this a little bit, and then I'll figure out a way of routing them back onto the actual story plot line, and they've had wonderful, wonderful experiences. And when you come out of that, it's like, gosh, I can't wait for the next gaming session. So yeah, if you ever want to play, I mean, hell, we'll bring you on for a game. Why not?
Yep, absolutely.
That'd be perfect, because it'll be probably the first and last time you ever want to talk to me. like Travis, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. As soon as I leave, this guy sucks.
Nah.
I'll tell you right now, the first time when I first read through the rules that Jason had completed, and the first thing that I do when I get a new system is make a character, because that, for me, teaches me more about the system than just reading the rules chapter by chapter. Mm-hmm. I bugged that man for days with these stupid, most asinine questions I could think of to try to figure out a way to break a character. And that means, to make something completely overpowered. And it took me days, and I still couldn't do it. But the raw amount of stupid questions I asked him, I'm sure at one point when he was at work, probably wanted to take his computer and flush it down the toilet, piece by piece.
No, not really. But, it's the questions like that get asked that help reveal flaws in the system or problem areas or whatnot. So, I take that kind of thing.
To which I have found a few.
Oh yeah. You've found more than a few, and
Well-
that's how it gets better.
Those are the fun ones, when you find stuff that'll break the game, and then you use it on him.
Yeah, finding those little holes in the middle of a game though is
The
frustrating.
fun ones.
Yeah.
Actually, well, I did come up with a couple more questions as you were talking. I kind of had. I just want to run through these real quick. Okay, so with the tabletop gaming and everything, how long does a game usually last for? Like from when it starts to when like the game is like officially over? Like, does it go for like months? Could it go for years? Could it be indefinite?
It depends on your play group and your game master completely. But go ahead, Pat.
I was on one. I'm sorry, Jason.
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
on one. It was one single. It was. It's what a lot of people like would call an epic campaign. And that one lasted 5.5 years, I want to say. And that's with us gaming, like sitting down at the table, either every other week or once a month, depending on everybody's schedule. But it was 5 years before we stopped.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was part of a gaming group, and we played a game. It was the overall campaign was made up of lots of little quests, but which ultimately had an overarching story to it. But that lasted for about 3 years, and we were playing every weekend for about 10 hours a weekend.
Okay. So if there is a game, like, let's say I was to start into a game that's been going on for like months and something like that, how would somebody like me starting out brand new enter a game that's been going on for so long? I mean, is it simple to do something like that? Like, how do you write somebody into a story like that?
It's actually not as hard as a lot of people would think it is. I mean, you would coordinate with your game master, really. So the game master can take a look at, where are we in the storyline right now? Where are we in the campaign? What's happening? What happened in the last couple of game sessions that we've had where I can fit an opening to get another character in there in a way that makes sense. Not only just makes sense to the story, but makes sense to why you as a new player into the game, why would your character be where they were? So a lot of times when I've brought people in on games like that have been going on for a little while, maybe the character was some sort of explorer, treasure hunter, or something of that nature, and got themselves caught or stuck in a trap, or, you just happen to cross paths at the same time, wherein you had a mutual interest or a mutual nemesis or something of that nature, where it made sense to, at least in the short term, work together, and naturally that short term becomes long term work together, and then you're part of the party. So it's not. I mean, if you have a GM who's willing to think in terms of storyline and how things fit together, it's really not that hard to bring a character in. The hardest part, I think, about bringing in the player like that is getting the player caught up enough on what's been going on to a degree that's relative to their entry point into the game. They don't have to be caught up completely on the entire storyline. That can come out in additional discussion or additional gameplay or things of that nature, whether it's player to player telling them what's been happening, or character to character, recanting things that they had done. It can happen either way, but that's something that can happen later. So what you need is the player to be brought up to speed on, here's where you are, here's why you were there, you've come across this other group, and this is the body of knowledge your character has as to what their goal is, what they were doing, and why they're there, and whether or not they are trying to keep those cards close to their chest, or and some of that comes into account as how are you going to play your character? Is your character a suspicious character? Is your character somebody who is looking for people to join them, or looking for a group that they can join and get benefit from, whatever. So you have a bit of give and take, but really it's just a matter of the game master saying, okay, here's the knowledge your character has, where they are, and this is the way you fit into the story starting at this point. And then at that point, it's a group effort of getting somebody rolling with the new group.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. To me, it seemed like it would be like really difficult. Like, we got these guys who've been playing for like 5-6 months who are at this point. To bring someone in brand new would be difficult, but I mean, it actually made it seem a lot easier than what I thought it was going to be. So that's actually pretty cool.
Oh, dude, it really isn't. It's not very hard at all. I'll give you a really quick scenario. I had a guy coming in, and this is in a Dungeons and Dragons fantasy setting, and he really wanted to play a dwarf that it's called the Hill Dwarf. They live in the hills, stuff like that. They're not, like Tolkien-esque dwarves that are in the mountain. He described his little house to me, which was in the side of a hill. He could see out from the front. And I had the party actually fleeing from a fight that they couldn't possibly win because they made some poor decisions, and jumped over his house. And he came out to grumble at them, turned around, seeing it was a small army, I guess you could say, and gathered them back into the house and basically rescued them, and that's how I introduced that man into the party. It's real easy once you have your friends together and all these people can get along. You can find a way. It's not really hard at all.
Okay, but mostly it's I guess it's at the discretion of the game master.
I would say partly, but the other thing to keep in mind is, you have a group dynamic. Mm-hmm. You have the game master, and quite often in gaming groups, it's often referred to as, it's the GM's game. They're the one who's telling the story and they've put their group together and yada, yada, yada. But really, it's bigger than that. You've got the players to take into consideration and things of that nature. So usually if somebody asks if they can join one of the games that I'm running, I take it back to the gaming group and say, okay, we've got such and such a person who wants to join. This is the kind of character that they want to play. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about adding another person to the group? 9 times out of 10, nobody has any objection to it. And at that point, I can just tell the new player, yeah, sure. The group's good with you joining, and we can run, a game on such and such a date, and you can come in on that one, and and just roll from there. If you're really worried about group politics, then it's a matter of okay, we'll have a 2 or 3 play sessions where it's kind of a trial. You critique our group as to whether or not you think we're a good fit for you. We'll critique you to see if we think you're a good fit for us, and keep playing from there on out. There's no reason why to make it a political thing, which unfortunately a lot of gaming groups that I've been part of or known about over the past years like to get into group politics and things of that nature, but it just takes the fun out of it. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason why somebody can't join in a way that benefits to everybody, including that player. And so, yeah, it's. I would say it's not just the GM. The GM can be the starting point, but taking the group into account and the players and how it's affecting them is always a smart idea.
Okay.
And and the other thing is, not all games are 6-month to 5-year endeavors.
True.
When we used to play, we would just do my Uncle Paul and Ryan and Nico would get together and they would plan a specific weekend, and the game that they would plan would only take up basically 6 to 9 hours on Saturday.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who do that kind of gaming as well. I mean, weekend-long games is or a single-day campaign is not difficult to put together. You just need to make sure you don't put together a complicated storyline.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of that tends to be more scenario play than big long storyline, and that can be a lot of fun.
Okay. How do you guys decide who a game master is?
Usually that ends up being, okay, let's draw straws to see who's going to be the game master. 'Cause unfortunately, the thing you find out in rather quick fashion is that people like to play, they don't necessarily like to run, because running is more intimidating, and the GM, quite frankly, is keeping track of a lot more than any one player is doing. They have the entire plot point. They have all non-player characters that need to be controlled. If there's a combat and it's your player group versus five enemies, then the GM's controlling five characters there, whereas each of the players is controlling one, or in some cases maybe two. But if you take the time ahead of time to plan your campaign, plan it out how you want to do it, then GMing's not difficult. But unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, when a game's starting, somebody volunteers as, "Hey, I want to run a game. Anybody want to join?" Or if you have an established gaming group already, sometimes it's a matter of, okay, I'm tired of running this game. Can I have a couple weeks of a break? Who wants to GM a game for a couple of weeks? And then it's down to drawing straws or something like that. But
or you have weirdos like me that love to tell a story. So I'm the one that was like, I'll do it. I'll run it.
Well, so okay, you may have answered this then with what you just said,
fine.
but is there at some point, like, let's say a group doesn't like the direction that a game master's taking the game, and can they create a new game master permanently?
Again, that comes down to group dynamics, really.
Is it majority vote, or is it like a dictator thing?
It depends on how the group wants to run it.
Want.
I've been privy to groups that evicted their game master, and I say it that way on purpose because the game master was hosting the game at their house, and they were rather dictatorial about how they ran their games, and the players were not happy with how the game was going. They tried talking to him and getting him to change some of the ways that he was doing things, and he wouldn't. So they decided without him, okay, we're going to restart this gaming group. But, instead of Joe hosting it, Frank's going to host it, and we're just not going to invite Joe. And,
Joe, I'm sorry. You got kicked out.
Okay, I was.
As a result, that GM was ousted and no longer in control. But if you have a really well-governed group, then everybody should be open to feedback, criticism, things of that nature, either player to GM, GM to player, or player to player. Because in order to have a really good, fun game, you want everybody to have fun. And if somebody's not having fun, then, there needs to be a discussion. There needs to be, something needs to change in order to make it fun again. And there really isn't any good reason, generally speaking, why a group can't adjust the way it's doing things. And any good GM that's worth their weight will be like, oh, okay, I was doing this and you guys really don't like that. Okay, I will adjust the way that I do these things, and try to be a little more conscientious of that. For example, if a GM wants to run a very challenging game, and therefore they're throwing enemies at you that are super, super high power. And so the player group is barely squeaking by, surviving every encounter they have. That's a very valid complaint. I don't want to end up, ending every combat with my character needing to, be laid up for 6 weeks in the hospital recovering from that combat experience. That's not fun. There are GMs who have played with the goal of what's termed a TPK, or a total party kill. They play the game as if they are adversarial, and their goal is to kill every player in the group. And some people like that. I'm not poo-pooing that style of play. But if somebody tries to run a game in that fashion and the players weren't realizing that's how the game was going to be, and they place a complaint about that, the GM should be willing to back off some of that and, play, throw encounters at the player group that are less fatal. Challenging is fine, but you want the players to be challenged. You want the players to feel like there is, some peril there if they don't perform well. But you don't want to set out with the actual goal of, I'm going to kill every last one of you in this game because...
Hey, maybe you don't set out with that goal.
Yeah.
But what the best part about it is, and I'll tell you this from like I said, I like to run the games, is when the players accidentally kill the other players.
Oh,
I have seen it, and that is hilarious.
How do you accidentally kill another player?
Okay, so I'll give you the example that was my most recent. My players were in a combat, and one of the magic users had picked up a wand and had no idea what it did. What it did when she used it created a spell called Fireball. Fireball sounds exactly like it does. It's basically a massive explosion of fire. And she shot it right in the middle of everybody and absolutely destroyed and killed the healer of the party.
Oh, man.
And I sat back and started gut laughing because it was the funniest fucking thing that had happened. And so, yes, when you've got 5 people at a table looking at you because you're laughing like an idiot, and you say, and they say, why? And, it was a sorcerer. Her name is Joy, not her real name, but that's her character's name. And she says, why? What does that wand do? Well, Joy, you've just cast Fireball into your own party and some of the bad guys. I hope you enjoy the consequences of your actions. And then you start laughing once you nearly killed, the guys that are supposed to take the damage. You kill the healer of the group. And you missed 2 of the bad guys that were, your targets in the first place. It's absolutely hilarious.
That's awesome.
So, yes, it is absolutely possible to have players kill players.
Well, my favorite is when players kill themselves through stupidity.
Oh, Colin, what was that movie?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it might be called The Gamers.
Come on, Colin.
I think it might be called The Gamers by Dead Man Productions.
Okay.
it was so old, but I can't remember.
So funny.
It was like some scene, like the guy rolled the dice, accidentally killed himself, and he wanted to roll again to revive himself, but it said you just killed yourself again.
The archer shoots and dies. And he's like, no, that's bullshit. I'm re-rolling. So he re-rolls and dies. He's like, no, this is crap. I'm re-rolling. And just keeps dying. It was hilarious. I think it's the movie called The Gamers.
Well, how long ago did we watch that? It was like 12, 13 years ago, wasn't it?
I think it came out in 2002. If this is the movie I'm thinking of. I have it on my computer right now, and after this I plan on taking a look at it, seeing if that's what it was.
Yeah, that's probably porn.
No.
Yeah, definitely. Once you get the name of the actual movie, not your Spank Bank, you just go right ahead and send that to me in a message because that sounds like a good movie.
Yeah, it does.
It was completely awesome. Like I don't think it was Dungeons and Dragons, but it was something similar to it. And like
Doesn't have to be.
and but yeah, like it started out like where they all got together, they started the game, and then it's a movie of the entire like game, like them wandering around doing the quest, and it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, 2002 sounds like what it would be.
Yeah, it was. I know it was after 2000. I remember that because I think we were 2002. We were what 12?
Yeah, we were in. So I'm thinking this is it.
Yeah, I think it was like 8th grade because your brother had it because he's the one that had it, and he was just in high school at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might have been it. Find that because if it is, we're all gonna enjoy watching it one day. Okay, so you mentioned people dying in the games. Now, is reviving an option, or if you die, you have to create a whole new character all over again, or how does that work?
Depends on the game
really
system.
and truthfully, yeah, that's what I was about to say. It really depends on the game system. You know, you get a more modern setting, dead is dead. You know, I can't bring back Travis. You know, but in some settings, you know, you have your gods and your deities, and they most absolutely can.
All right. Well, here's a scenario. Let's say Joe had a character, and Joe's character died, and then all of a sudden Joe has to create a new character, does all this stuff, blah blah blah, and now he's built this character, and now they're moving on. Now, is there a certain point where somebody could say, "Hey, Joe, if you want to bring back your old character, you absolutely can," and he could bring that back and then control two different characters within the quest, even though this one has been dead and gone for a little bit?
Yeah, depending on the game, absolutely.
So like anything's like all possible. Like I mean, I guess that's what we've been talking about the whole time. But I mean, anything's like really possible. Like if you're playing the game for like the 5.5 year long game you're playing, if I had a character that died like 3 years ago, and I was like, is there any possible way I could bring so and so back? And there could be a possibility, whether it be he just forms out of nowhere, he takes over the new character in some kind of weird like possession way or something like that.
Yeah, that absolutely could be a scenario that
I really want to play these games.
Now I want to throw a tad bit of a correction at Brett. Not all modern games, death is death in the game.
I was actually using Stellar Chaos to a greater or lesser extent.
Well, Stellar Chaos, actually, I did a lot of research and interviewing a number of EMTs about the processes they use for dealing with trauma patients and things of that nature. So I got a fairly good insight into, okay, so you have a character who's taken essentially lethal levels of damage, getting shot or whatever. What can you do? Is that person just, gone for good? And no, there's now rules in there that time is your enemy at that point. You need to be able to get proper amount of emergency care to that character to stabilize them and then potentially get them to recover. So in the game, losing all of your hit points is more or less death, unless you have somebody with medical capability who can get to the character and provide that level of trauma care to help the character survive. So, it's similar, games like D&D and things like that are fantasy settings are similar too. They've got their ways of, you've got to have a cleric there who can cast, healing spells and heal damage that you take so that you don't die or something like that. But there are some games out there though that are absolutely hardcore. Your character hits 0 hit points, he's dead, he's gone. You can't bring him back. It's gone. That's it. There is no such thing as bringing them back. So, a lot of it depends on the GM. A lot of it depends on the game system.
I gotcha. So it's wise to have a healer in your group.
Oh yeah.
So if somebody or like the group all decides like, I don't want to be a healer. Well, I don't want to be a healer. Like nobody wants to be healers. Like some kind of anti-Oprah gift giving. Do you are you pretty much screwed then if you get hurt?
No.
No?
I mean, there are,
I mean, healers just sound like, like in my opinion, it just sounds kind of lame. Like, because like what, like a healer like kind of wants to stay back, make sure everyone's okay, and then like oh, I got stabbed, heal and stuff like that.
Not
But
necessarily.
Okay.
I mean,
That hurts.
for example, in
Well,
D&D,
no offense. If you're a healer, I apologize.
I always play the cleric.
I'm just trying to grasp the concept. Like if I'm trying to think of like what the game would look like in my mind, I would assume like a healer would be like a general in a Revolutionary War where they stand back on top of the hill and watching everything going on. And if somebody drops like in the battlefield, then you're able to heal them from your point. Like you don't want to be down there in the middle of it because if you die, everyone dies.
Well,
that's the way I'm looking at it. And that's why I was kind of like, that's the way I think it as like maybe like somebody would want to do more of the attack phasing than the healing phasing. I don't want to sound like I know what I'm doing. It's just what I'm thinking. What would it be like?
right. Well, let me throw the basic D&D example at you, and that's the cleric.
Mm.
A cleric is a character who is allowed to wear heavy armor. They can use blunt weapons like maces and hammers and things of that nature. They can carry shields. But they are also very devout in their faiths, which is where they derive their ability to use divine power and magic in order to heal and sometimes resurrect other characters. So this is a guy who, or a character who is on the front lines fighting evil, or fight if they're an evil cleric, fighting good, and such, in order to appease their god. And they are one of the backbones of the player group, in that if other characters become injured, they're there. They can do heals either in the middle of combat, or they can do massive healing after combat. But they themselves are not a weak character that needs to stay in the back. Now, certainly you wouldn't want, your one and only cleric healer to be the, tip of the spear, as it were, in combat, but you don't have to hide them in the back either. In terms of Stellar Chaos, healing's a skill set. You can have multiple characters who have some level of healing. But if you don't, you can have equipment. Like I'm not a doctor, but I know how to use a first aid kit for minor injuries. So why can't a character have the same kind of knowledge set and equipment? So I mean, if you were out with a friend hiking and they broke their leg, you have a general understanding of the kinds of action you need to take in order to stabilize their leg and get them out of that environment to medical attention. So it's the same thing in the game. So you're not screwed if you don't have a healer per se, but you're much better off when you do have one.
Okay. With the games, do you get a lot of people who like don't want to have so much as a what's the proper word for it? Like mythical or magical like character, like how like do you ever have somebody who like I want to be more like Hawkeye, not Captain America, or more like Xena, not Hercules, like a humanized, like they don't have any power but they're very skilled at what they do kind of person? Is that is that more common or less common than the people who like I want to be a wizard, I want to be a super mega power kind of character? Or
in a fantasy setting, that is actually the type of character that I prefer.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of players have a preference for the kind of character that they play. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of character, what you just described is the kind of character my spouse likes to play. Don't have to think about a lot of additional rules or whatnot. Just put a sword or whatever weapon in their hand and let them go to town bashing the hell out of the enemy. And that's it.
Jeff likes to be a cleric.
I like to mix it up. My favorite kind of fantasy character is a ranger, usually elven. So very comfortable in the forest, very good with bows, and, annoy the hell out of you from high in the trees, blinking at you from a distance. But, I'll turn around and mix it up, depending on the game system and whatnot, just so I don't burn out on the thing I like, So, but you'll find a lot of players have very specific types of characters they generally like to play most times, and sometimes it's the real simple, don't give me a lot of rules, just let me hack and slash.
Let me hit it and let it
yeah.
die. Just let me hit the thing until it stops moving.
Yep.
And
Yep. And sometimes it's
those days.
yeah, and sometimes it's I love playing mages and having a list of spells that's 20 pages long. That's that I can use in creative ways and whatnot, and they get into trying to come up with those out of the box creative ways of using those rules to their advantage.
Gotcha. I got 2 more questions, and I think I'm good.
Okay.
All right.
I have more for you, though.
What's that?
I have a question for you, though, Travis.
Oh, all right. You want me to go first, or do you want to go? I mean, I don't want.
Oh, dude, I love going first. Don't get me started.
I'll go first.
No, I was just going to ask, if you really want to play with our Flux system, me and Jason will be more than happy to accommodate that. If you really want to explore this, we will open you up to, what did Reagan call it? Oh, a gateway drug. That's it.
There you go.
I'm going to tell you, like I tell myself before I go on any blind date, keep an open mind. I'm definitely interested in trying this. I definitely want to give it a go. I just keep an open mind that if I don't get it right away, if I fuck something up, which I know I will, you just gotta understand. I'm from a very country setting, so I'm very simple, both in mind and life.
Okay. I'm going to tell you something I don't tell a lot of people. I am from a town that used to have a tractor pull in front of the bank once a year. When they put this one stoplight in, they put it in the wrong spot. Okay? I understand.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in it. I mean, you guys have completely sold me on the games. Not only your game, but just the whole game concept itself. I'm definitely interested in doing more with this, learning more with it, and being more part of it. Like I said, it'll be a huge learning experience for me because I have never done this. I am like a virgin when it comes to this.
No, it's all good. I mean, I'm the kind of player that I'm more interested in you understanding what's happening and why, so that you can the next time you encounter whatever that situation is, you can just roll right through it comfortably.
See, and that'll be perfect, because I would hate to have to, go to, somebody's house and see it and be like, oh, let's go do something else. Something like that. I don't want to feel that way. We used to have this store or this shop in our town. Colin, what was it called?
For what?
It was called.
Talking about the coffee shop?
Damn, this is a hell of a good store.
It was a game. What was that game?
Oh, Dragon's Refuge.
Dragon's Refuge, and there'll be people playing there every night during the week and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I never brought myself to go in there and it was crazy because my buddy actually worked in there. He actually worked behind the counter and everything. And we never talked about those kind of games. I mean, every time I talked to him, we always talked about professional wrestling and everything. So whenever I saw him, I'd go and talk to him about professional wrestling. He worked at the gas station. He left the gas station and started working there. But I went in there I want to go in there. I want to talk to him. But if I try to talk to him about professional wrestling, he's probably so focused on what he's doing there, it'd probably just completely throw him off. So I never went in there because I didn't want to walk in like, you know, like wearing cowboy boots, you know, a cut off, you know, t-shirt, a baseball cap, and like these people looking at me in cloaks, staring at me.
I don't think very many people dressed up in there.
I swear to God, every time I walk by, there's at least 4 people wearing cloaks. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that I would be the outsider walking.
Hey, dude, don't make fun of my freaking cloak fetish. God,
I'm not big fan of any cloak. I mean, and I'm happy that at least when they wore the cloaks, they left the hoods down. Like if I saw one guy with the hood up, I'd fucking lose it. I swear to God, I would. But like, I mean, I got nothing against cloaks. You know,
I used to play Magic the Gathering there.
Yeah, see, it's like Colin would be welcomed in there because Colin's
I've learned so much about Colin tonight.
Colin understands. I mean, like Colin, you played that stuff. I'm with Andre and Armand.
Yeah.
I never played that stuff, so I would walk in like cowboy boots, and they'd be like, "Who are you, strange one?"
I think you would be fine.
Maybe, but like that's what I'm saying. Like I always psych myself out when it came to that stuff. Like I never wanted to like, you know, jump into it and do it because I hate being judged, and that would just be another thing I'd be judged by. But I'm going to put that all behind me, and I'm going to jump, you know, head first into this. And like I don't know, like maybe one day I'll be a master of something, like, you know, like a Pokemon master, but not Pokemon.
Well, you know, just keep in mind that you know, people playing the games like that probably have been have encountered their own brand of being judged for playing those games or dressing a certain way when they play those games. Yeah. So, you know, chances are they're not going to feel judgmental if you were to walk in on a game and, you know, go dressed comfortably or whatnot. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah. You guys help me. It's like my therapy, and I appreciate this. You know, I thought that, like, you know, I was helping you guys by having you on the show, but really, you helped me.
Awesome.
I did. I'm excited. Now we're definitely going to talk more about this because I definitely want to get more involved in this. But my other 2 questions I had, the first one is it's not so much about the game, but so much about the people that play it. Have you ever came across a situation where this game got to a point where it ruined a friendship, or got to a point where like you no longer speak to a person because they took what happened in the game so personally that they just took it, you know, they made it too personal and just decided to never speak to one another again or something like that? Like not so much you guys, but seen it happen?
I've heard about it.
I've heard about it. Yeah. I haven't seen it with our particular game, but I actually have been part of gaming groups where group politics drove wedges between friendships. It wasn't so much what happened in a game, unless the things that happened in a game were because of things going on with group politics. You know, kind of that, you know, juvenile kind of, well, if that's the way you're going to be in the group, I'm just not going to cooperate with you in the game kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I've seen that happen. And I have played with players who take games way too seriously. And when I personally encounter that, I try real hard not to get into any kind of group politic discussion with them or whatnot. You know, I've learned through experience that that's a no-win scenario. So, you know, just keep your head down and don't engage, basically. But other than that, no, I can't say that I've ever really lost any friendships over things that happened in a role-playing game, personally.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, it always just worries me. Like, if you like get too involved, like especially with like close friends, stuff like in games like this, and like just a situation arises. Like, I know a lot of people, like, you know, like when they get into like a hobby or, you know, like, you know, something that they're like, you know, they're really passionate about, they may take it too far and be like, you know, if you want to do the things I want to do, then you can fuck yourself and leave. You know, so I've had friends, you know, that were like that for like, you know, pick up touch football games. Like, you know, like if they get tackled or you question them on like a touchdown or something like that, like you didn't cross the line, you know, they just blow up and just take the ball and fucking go home. Like literally take the ball. And it's not even their ball. They just take it and leave. I mean, like, it's happened and stuff like that. It just baffles me how, like, I mean, like, granted, like, I respect people to have a passion for what they do and for taking it very seriously. But so I guess sometimes maybe some people take it a little too far.
Well, I have been part of gaming groups that have been in very serious campaigns, and if those are long campaigns, like we were in one that was 2 years long, and it was the storyline was very dark, very serious. There wasn't a whole lot of humor injected into the game itself, into the campaign, I should say, and we had. We got to a point where everybody got into arguments over stupid stuff. Why didn't somebody do X, Y, Z? Why did you do that kind of thing? And somebody basically got so frustrated they packed up their stuff and left for the night. And that kind of basically ended the game for the night. But we learned at that point, okay, when a campaign like that starts to become too serious and people start getting too wound up over things that happen in it, we switched games for about a month, and just picked up, there's a number of role-playing games out there that are very light and fluffy and very humorous and not a serious scenario at all. And we would do that for about a month just to break the tension. And then we'd come back to the campaign kind of refreshed and ready to go with it again. So, it's a lot of it boils down to basically group dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. All right. Last question, and this is probably the biggest question I had for the entire episode.
The number 6. Did I get it right?
I guess if I reworded the question, with the end of our show coming close and everything, and again, I want to thank you guys for coming on because this has been so much fun. It's been great talking to you. But my question is, like, would you guys want to come back on our show in the future to talk more about this and more about your game?
Absolutely, yeah. Would love to.
Yeah.
Actually, what I would like, and I'll have to, of course, I'm sure Jason won't have a problem, but I would like for us to possibly come on maybe a week after the first time you've played with our Flux system and, with us. And that way you can, have a lot more input as to how you felt playing your first role-playing game with us.
Absolutely. I would love that.
Go.
I love that. See, I'm always nervous by asking that question, and like half the time I hear it, like either you could tell someone's sincere about definitely wanting to come back on, or they just lie to make you feel better. Like, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to come back on, and then because it's like so nerve-wracking. It's like asking for a second date,
Well, I don't kiss on the first date, but I will on the second, bro.
Oh no, I force myself on people. I mean, it's just what I do. As you can tell, I get. No, I'm kidding. I'm so glad you guys are able to come on and everything. But before you take off, do you kind of want to just tell everyone again, where they can find you, social media wise, and all that?
Sure.
Sure.
You can find us at infinitemonkeysgames.com is our website. And we also have a Facebook page, which is Facebook/Infinite Monkeys Games. Sorry about the stampede in the background. My dog is
was that the monkeys?
Witching hour.
Those...
No, that's my bully pit. He's hit his witching hour.
Did that sound like a herd of infinite monkeys?
Yeah.
That's what I did there.
He's got a herd of infinite monkeys, and I have a herd of hound dogs.
Yeah.
So you might have heard them too.
And
I got a dog who does nothing but sleep, so we're cool.
Oh god. And Twitter, we're on imgames.com or imgames on Twitter. Excuse me.
I'm gonna follow you right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We appreciate the follow, but I will be honest. We do have a lot more Facebook activity than we do with Twitter, and we're working on that. But that is just me being brutally honest.
Well, it's a good thing that everything we post on Facebook automatically populates to Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, I know, but we have Admit it, we have way more Facebook interaction.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, I try to blend myself between Facebook and Twitter. I think actually see myself a lot more like I promote the show more on Twitter to where I just post random shit on Facebook.
Mm.
So it's just you get so much more characters on Facebook, and like, you use so much more of that. Like when I go to Twitter, it's like, hey, new show up, check it out, and then I'll attach somebody onto it. But on Facebook, it's like, watch this fucking old man beat the shit out of this puppy or some shit. You know, it's like,
Who are you following? I don't even want to know.
nobody really wants to know. Oh, geez. Guy, thank you so much again for coming on. I had a blast, and I'm so glad that I was able to learn so much just from this one episode, which motivates me to definitely learn more and, definitely pushes myself to get more involved in this. So I definitely want to play. I definitely want to get involved in the game.
Excellent. Well, appreciate you allowing us on and having this opportunity to talk about it.
Absolutely, and I'm serious about you guys coming back on. I mean, even to talk about the game, just talk about anything else. I mean, just to chit chat. I'm lonely.
You like baseball, dogs, long walks on the beach.
Yeah, I mean,
Here.
yeah. I mean, I'll never keep you longer than you want to stay, but at the same time, I'll never want to see you leave. It's like you want to put together another puzzle or some shit like that. It's just awkward second dates. Anyways, but yeah, seriously, I definitely want you guys to come back on, whether we're talking about the game or just anything in general, just to have that socialization. Because literally, I just have a fucking dog. He don't talk back.
Right?
He's a very quiet dog.
He's a very quiet dog. He doesn't bark. The only time he ever barks is when he's locked up, and who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we would love to come back on. Maybe, like I said, maybe we'll get you to try the game, and we have a Kickstarter coming up, so maybe we'll come on and do that whole pitch thing.
Hell yeah!
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what's awesome is we got this website thing that I guess we rarely ever use when you think about it, because we don't really have a lot of time. Sucks, but we have a website, and if you when you get the Kickstarter up and running and you let us know, then we'll put a link to your Kickstarter on our website. So when people do go to it and do use it, they can find it right there.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things I love to do with the show. Like when we get like these creators of like comic books, board games, web series, and all that, when they come on, we want to do what we can to help them get their name out there. I mean, and what we try to do is we try to put links and everything to who they are from our webpage. When you go to thisfreakinshow.com and go to the guests that we have, every guest that we have is on that page, and every name is linked to either their Twitter, their Kickstarter, their Facebook, whatever that they feel that they want to promote, is linked right there. So, and that's what we try to encourage. If you guys want us to help you, we're willing to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's it's not like what's the word? I hate fucking language. We just want to help you guys as much as possible, because this is an awesome thing you're creating, and I'm like really excited about it. So, definitely want to help out.
Fantastic.
Well, thanks, man.
Absolutely. I'm here because I care. Travis loves. Okay, I'm done being weird.
Okay. I'm not. But okay.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for being on, and we'll definitely stay in touch.
You bet. Take care.
Excellent.
See you guys.
Have a good night.
Bye. Okay, so that was our two
Those
speakers.
monkey game.
Yeah.
Stellar Chaos.
There's so
Another
much.
thing. I learned so much. I'm so excited. Actually, the thing I'm most excited about is how excited you are, Travis, for getting role-playing games.
I honestly, and that was a true story, Joe, about being at Kevin's house. It was.
I remember that. I didn't know. I see it now in my mind, going back in time and thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, I mean, like, and I mean, it's just one of the things you gotta understand. It's like, I knew Carl, you, Houston, and Michael. And that was it. Well, your mom, I think your mom and, no, I'm sorry, not your mom, your grandma and grandpa, Grandma D and Grandpa Snudd.
Mhm.
I think I might have met them before that. But I mean, like, other than the wedding, actually, no, this was before the wedding.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I didn't know your family whatsoever, and I think the biggest thing, and I don't think Kirk meant to do this, or was it? It was your Kirk. It was Paul.
Probably
One of
Paul.
them. Well, I mean, because it makes complete sense. But one of them, even though I think they didn't do it intentionally, I was like, you realize that first impressions are everything, and you got to impress everyone now, right? I think that kind of freaked me out.
Oh yeah.
So
maybe it
like,
was. I don't
but
know.
like, it's just like one of the things. Like, I mean, because I didn't know what kind of people you guys were. It's like, so like when I walk into that when I walked into that room and saw that board, like I was interested, but I didn't want to be, looked at like an idiot or anything like that. So I never like really said anything. But I'm interested in this shit, and I definitely want to get more involved in it. And
Fantastic.
I hope I do.
I'm I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's not you guys. It was me. It was me being self-conscious about myself. I should have been more outgoing. I should have been more vocal and be like, "Hey, I want to play with the fucking trees," you know.
Yeah.
But no,
if you
that
want,
was,
we'll have to take a trip down the Dragon's Refuge.
yeah. We'll stop down there. We'll wet my beak on something. Get some learning.
it.
That way, when I do hear from Brett and
Jason.
Jason, I was about to say Justin. I don't know why. I was thinking cousin Justin. Brett and Jason. When we do contact me, get involved in this game, at least I'll have some kind of knowledge to kind of start up. So that'll be really exciting. And hey, speaking of knowledge, we are ready for Colin to fill our heads with knowledge.
Hey, everyone. This is This Freakin State of Mind, where, we do the usual. Go through the states, tell you interesting facts. Some which may be true, some which may be made up. Because all this information comes straight from the internet. And anybody can place anything there. So let's hop right down to it. This week's, we have Connecticut. Actually, we have our one of our hosts is actually currently living there.
It's true.
Yes.
In the northwest part of the state.
Joe is living there. So maybe he knows some of these and can elaborate more on them.
Oh, I doubt it.
Because he's been there for so long.
Right. 4 months.
Yeah. The first telephone book ever issued contained only 50 names. The New Haven District Telephone Company published it in New Haven in February of 1878.
Huh.
That's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one for you Navy geeks. The USS Nautilus, the world's first nuclear-powered submarine, was built in Groton in 1954.
Huh.
Groton there is actually a submarine base there. So I could have gotten stationed there actually while I was in.
Really?
I chose against it.
Yeah, it was a good choice.
Connecticut and Rhode Island have never ratified the 18th Amendment of Prohibition.
Good for them.
Yeah. So does that mean they never, like, I don't exactly know what a ratified meant. Sorry. If that makes me
So
sound
for an
stupid.
amendment to be added to the Constitution, a certain number of states have to agree to the amendment.
Oh.
And so this fact is saying that Connecticut and Rhode Island did not agree with it.
Oh, so they were against Prohibition.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you for expanding my knowledge, Joe.
No problem.
On January 28, 1878, 21 venturous citizens of New Haven became the world's first subscribers to telephone exchange service.
Huh.
And if I think
That makes
right,
sense.
that's where they have like an operator behind the board, correct?
I think so.
I think so too, where they actually plug in put the wires to each other so you can call.
Mhm.
Cattle branding in the U.S. Began in Connecticut when farmers were required by law to mark all of their pigs.
Huh.
Then we have in Hartford, Connecticut, you may not, under any circumstance, cross the street walking on your hands. And I guess that sucks for those circus folk.
Yeah, or like Sebulba. species.
Connecticut is home to the oldest U.S. newspaper still being published, the Hartford Courant, which was established in 1764.
Wow.
Jeez. That's some time there.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
We have Connecticut is home to the first hamburger in 1895. Polaroid camera in 1934. Helicopter in 1935, and color television in 1948. See, that's one of those facts that I say might want to double check in your own time, but because a hamburger, really, you're probably going to have a lot of people claim that one. So
that's fair.
But especially if it's in the 1800s.
Yeah, it was though. It was a. I don't know if it was Connecticut. I mean, the internet says so just now, but yeah, it was a guy. He was in a hurry, and he didn't want to wait around for a proper meatball to be made, and so the guy just took the restaurateur took and squished one of his meatballs down and grilled it, and then just toasted some bread and gave it to the guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, the more you know.
Because knowledge is power.
I credit that knowledge to Uncle John's Bathroom Raider. The best fact trivia book I've ever read. Series of books.
Apparently, the first automobile law was passed in Connecticut in 1901, which set the speed limit at 12 miles per hour.
Most Connecticut thing I've ever heard.
What? Usain Bolt runs fast at it, doesn't he?
Yep. Almost twice as fast, I think.
That's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
The first lollipop making machine opened for business in New Haven in 1908. George Smith named the treat after a popular racehorse. In 1937, Connecticut became the first state to issue permanent license plates for cars.
That's cool.
Yes. Danbury, an important military depot for the American Revolutionary War, I'd imagine. Armies for the American Revolutionary Armies was burned and looted in April 1777 by the British under Major General William Tryon. Tryon, yeah. Interesting. The first blast furnace in Connecticut was built in Lakeville in 1762. We go back to Groton. The Submarine Force Museum in Groton is home of historic ship the Nautilus, SSN 571, and is a official submarine museum of the U.S. Navy.
Huh.
So it's not like a third-party one; it's officially a Navy one, which is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
New Milford's worst disaster struck in 1902 when the main business section centered on Bank Street was almost completely leveled by the Great Fire. And this is
Really?
not the Great Fire of Chicago.
In New Milford.
Yeah.
That's right by me.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
It was Joe that started it.
Yep, in 1902.
Joe didn't start the fire.
It was always burning since New Milford was turning.
In 1728, the first steel mill operating in America was located in Simsbury.
Simsbury.
So, Joe, you know where that is?
No, I don't, but it's a funny name.
Wallingford has earned a worldwide reputation for the production of silverware.
Huh.
Nice. I wonder if
Is
it's
there nine
actual silverware or just plated silverware.
Me too.
West Hartford is the birthplace of Noah Webster. And does anybody know what he did?
Dictionary.
Dictionary?
Yep, the author of the first dictionary, which was published in 1807.
No shit.
Then you have Pez, the candy, is made in the city of Orange. So,
Fascinating.
and last but not least, Hartford has remained the capital city of Connecticut since 1875.
Huh.
Now, see, to me, I didn't know that capitals move
Mm-hmm.
around. So, but yes, and there you have some interesting facts about the good state of Connecticut, the living place of our good friend Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you all for joining me on another week's episode of This Freakin State of Mind.
Oh no, Con. Thank you, because you're the first person in almost like 50 years that made Connecticut interesting again.
You're not
Thanks.
You made it work, Con. I know you were all worried about going into it like there's nothing in Connecticut, but you made it work.
I mean, looking up this stuff, you're grasping at straws for Connecticut.
It's like when you come to like California, like Nevada or like Florida and Texas, it's like you get like websites upon websites upon websites of information. When you get to Connecticut, you get like half a PDF.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. Oh. Hey Joe,
Yes.
what you freaking on this week?
Oh, let's see. This week,
Yeah, this week.
I am freaking on the game Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because my wife bought it for me ages and ages ago, and I finally have time to play it.
Oh, it's
And,
so much fun.
Oh, it's awesome. It's an awesome game. And my favorite thing about it is I actually got to live in Florence for 6 weeks back in college.
Yeah?
And so it's really, really, really cool to go, like, visit all of my favorite places again.
Nice.
But obviously, like, I don't know, 300, 400, 600 years later.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty fun. I really enjoy it a lot.
Oh, it's a great game. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge
Oh.
fan of the Assassin's Creed. Actually,
I didn't know that.
speaking of the Assassin's Creed, sorry for cutting you off, Joe.
Oh, by all means.
They're about to release the movie
Yeah, that actually looks pretty good, too.
starring Michael Fassbender. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I plan on going and seeing that.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
What are you freaking on this week?
Which one of us?
You, Colin.
Me?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There's so much to freak out.
I know, right?
Get your freak on.
I gotta say probably that I will be soon going to go see Impractical Jokers.
Nice.
Not on TV like I'm used to, but actually at the Chicago Theater. So
That's fantastic.
yeah, I've never been there. I know I'm going to be up in a balcony seat, so I don't know how that's going to be seating wise, but I hope it's good.
It's got to be better than Lincoln's visit.
It's all I gotta say is that it better be worth the money. Cause
It depends on how mind-blowing the performance is.
exactly. So
It was a great Lincoln assassination joke. Paying attention at home.
what an asshole.
R.I.P. Lincoln.
Travis, what are you freaking on this week?
I am going to take this weekend, this coming Saturday, I have a Christmas party I have going on. So that's going to be fun and exciting. And I think Friday night I may try to do something that I tried doing 8 years ago and failed on. And I think I'm going to try making alcoholic eggnog again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, last time I made it, I think we overdid it on the bourbon.
We overdid on something.
We overdid it on, like, yeah. Like, it didn't even taste like eggnog. It tasted like... I can't remember, because I know, like... I mean, like... Because when me and Colin made it, I think we were, like, 18, 19 years old. 19, 20 or something like that. I know we weren't 21 yet. Mm-hmm. And, obviously, my mom picked up the alcohol for us. Those are the police officers who are huge fans of us listening to this show. Let it go. I know she got us bourbon. She got us bourbon, whiskey, and I think vodka.
Oh boy.
I can't remember what the fuck. I know because I tried to follow some fucking recipe, and apparently the recipe I found was like some fucking alcoholic, because I know I followed the instructions perfectly, and this shit came out rough. So I'm gonna try it again this year, see how it goes. Hopefully it turns out a lot better. And I think just for the hell of it, I may make apple pie shots again too. I mean, those are easy to make,
nice.
So I may do that too. Yeah, I'm actually kind of disappointed because I'm not disappointed, but it sucks. Sneddon family Christmas party is the same night, and I didn't realize that when I set this up. So I'm not going to make it out there this year, which is unfortunate.
Me either. So.
Yeah, well, you got a decent excuse. You're 9-10 hours away. So I'm just having a party for a bunch of drunken idiots who need a place to party.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, have you heard GCR's recipe for the perfect eggnog?
I did not. Is it simple and easy?
It's very simple and easy.
It's like a family secret thing that we're going to share with the world now?
Yep.
Perfect.
So you go to the store and you buy your favorite eggnog. And then you go and get your favorite bourbon. I prefer Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
And then you open the eggnog and pour it right down the drain and just drink bourbon.
That's awesome. I like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like GCR. I miss GCR. I need to get GCR on this show again.
Oh, that's good.
Or what we do is we do what we say we're going to do and get Travesty back on Geek Cast Live. Because that was promised to me at the beginning of season 3. And how far are you into the season now, Joe?
Near the end.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That is right. You son of the bitches. Nah, that's cool. No, we definitely got to plan something. We need to get the group all together. So we got to plan that shit for the future.
Our 150th is coming up soon.
Nice. I think last time I was on your 100th. Mm-hmm. And I was told, we're going to have you back on soon. So at least I know how many weeks it's been.
Soon?
What?
I said, did we actually say soon? I bet we did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're jerks.
You're jerks.
I'll bring it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, mention it. Just happen to drop it. Yeah. I know you guys know I'm here. Nah, it's cool. It's cool. I got to get a hold of it.
It's a shame, like, we can't coordinate it to where we could all do our Malort.
I know.
You drank the rest of that.
Yeah, well, GCR sells me 3 shots of it.
That's what I mean. GCR and I gotta do Malort for you.
Yeah. Maybe we could do something like someday in the future, obviously not anytime soon, but sometime in the future, like get like a podcasting party together or some shit.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
We should plan something like that. But speaking of movies, since you did bring up Assassin's Creed, did you guys happen to catch the new trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, not the original one that came out, but like the newer one?
No.
Yes.
Oh my god, so funny.
I'm so excited.
I love it because it shows more of like baby Groot.
Mm-hmm.
And shit. It's like, okay, here's a bomb. Do not press this button because it'll kill everyone. It's like, I am Groot. It's like, no! You do not touch the button. It's so funny. Connie, you gotta check out it's the new one. I mean, I know you showed me the one, but this is a completely new one.
Yeah. I know there was a new one that came out.
Yeah, it's funny. You gotta check it out. It's hilarious. Those of you listening, check it out. It's hilarious.
2 minutes 40 seconds, I think, if you're on YouTube looking at them and trying to compare.
Yeah.
So I love Drax at the end of it.
I love it. She told your deepest, darkest secret. You must be so embarrassed. To me. Oh, shit. Hey, Joe.
Yes.
Every week, our listeners can catch Geek Cast Joe here on this freaking show. But if they need more Geek Cast Joe, where can they go?
If you need more Geekcast, Joe, you can go over to the Geekcast Live podcast at gcl.ninja. Or you can find us on Facebook, iTunes, SoundCloud, Twitter, and YouTube by searching Geekcast Live.
Nice. I like how like you're finally like making it to like where like you're narrowing it down more and more.
Yeah, I got tired of saying the really long URL.
I know. It was like because like every time like I'm just sitting here like just kind of like living my life, and all of a sudden you're done, and I'm like, oh shit, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like one day it's just gonna be like, where else can they go? And you're like, if you need more Geekcast Show, go to gcl.ninja.
Right?
Or just one day like, where can they go? gcl.ninja. Oh, okay.
Do it.
I love that.
You pay for this stupid, really short URL. Might as well use it.
Yeah. I love that domain though. gcl.ninja.
Right? I'm so excited that we got
Yeah.
it.
Speaking of awesome domains, it's freakinshow.com. You contact us through
We
that.
got that too.
I know, right? It surprised me that there wasn't a show called This Freaking Show.
Right?
Like, I mean, nothing. I mean,
Just us.
so many people dropped the ball on that one. But we own it, which is cool. Yeah, go to thisfreakinshow.com. You can contact us through there, through the contact section, like any logical website would have. Email us at thisfreakinshow@yahoo.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram just by searching This Freaking Show. And, of course, you can find our podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Google Play. If you go to iTunes, give us a 5-star review, Those really help us. They really help build us on iTunes. So definitely do that, and I'd love you forever. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Interact with us. If you go on Twitter and you want to talk to us, use the hashtag Freakin Sane. If you go on Facebook and want to contact us, fucking message me. Okay? Simple. There's so many ways to contact us. Start doing it. As always, I am Travesty.
I'm Awkward Colin.
And I'm Geekcast Joe.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of This Freaking Show. I'm out.